Comment on the Warcrow Week videos for your chance to win a Warcrow Wins from the North 2-player battle pack. We will choose 3 winners, one from YouTube, one from OnTableTop.com, and one from our Cult of Games members, so you guys get an extra chance to win.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the Warcrow Wins from the North theme week. I'm joined by sound effect artiste, Foley artist, Hoopoe, from Corvus Belli. I'm joined by our war car, Killian as well, to keep us on the straight and narrow and to look at things and go, these aren't D20.
Exactly. This is not the number of sides of dice I'm used to. What are these strange symbols? Yes.
What do you mean 8? What is 8?
This is an interesting video because it is one of the key features of Warcrow, and bears not a dissimilar resemblance to something that was in Warcrow Adventures as well. This is the turn tracker. However, I've been led to believe that it has a very different function in Warcrow.
And you experience it yourself too.
Yes. So the piece of cardboard in question is this. As you can see, festooned with tokenage. Where do we want to start?
Oh, so we want to start by explaining that, of course, this is a turn counter, and we use it to track how the game is progressing, meaning that in Warcrow, we have alternating activations. And for each of these turns, one player will activate one of their units, and then the other player will activate the other unit. And once that is done, we'll move on to the next one, and then the very first token I wanted to talk about is this one over here with a diamond-shaped, beautiful figurine over there. This is the end of round token. This indicates when the round ends. Why is this? Why do we need a token to learn that? Because I've mentioned this in multiple interviews, and I do believe it, do stand by it. Warcrow's richness is on its scenarios. There's so much that could happen in a scenario. The variability of it, the different ways you could tackle or present the battlefield are reflected upon this. And one of them is the name of turns per round. For example, you could have a scenario that has 3 rounds of 3 turns each. In that case, the end of round token would belong to position 3. You can have them at 5, 4, 6, and it changed a lot. And also, okay, I shouldn't. I'm gonna whisper out to you since I am the Lindwurm whisperer. There might be units in some armies that move that token because the token is not fixed. You can move it.
There's also a clear difference here between what a turn is and what a round is. They mean very different things. A round is a group of turns. So on a turn, you're moving one of your units, and your opponent moves one of their units, not all your units. And then however many turns there are in a round, at the end of the round, that's all your units will have moved if possible. Anybody who hasn't activated that round will then get to do their, what's it called, no man left behind.
Yeah, the no one gets left behind one,
So depending on how many turns are in a round, you might not get to activate all of your units as in an activation.
Which is not necessarily a bad thing.
Which is not necessarily a bad thing. But it does mean things like if your first round is 5 turns, your second round is 3 turns, and your last round is 2 turns, the pace of the game will increase as the scenario running out of time. So it adds this extra level of tactical depth, which is really interesting when you're playing the game.
Yeah. And it always gives you choices as well, because if you know you're never going to be able to activate everybody within a full round, then your selections turn to turn don't just come down to immediate effects, but you have to think about what the scenario is, what your opponent is going to do, where you need to be maybe in the next turn or the next round with them. All of these things feed into that when you're doing this alternating activation, but with a limited amount of activations per round. Which is
and as
nice.
well as that, you can activate the same unit multiple times in a round on different turns, but it becomes stressed, and that adds a whole other layer. If you overstress a unit, then it becomes a lot more dangerous to use. Which is
a lot more dangerous.
But not only the end of round token belongs in the turn counter because we have more things. The next one we're going to talk about is this chicken-legged scroll we have in here with a number. Those are the events. And following the scenario instructions, the scenario could indicate that at X or Y turn of the round, something is going to happen. And we gave this token numbers because, of course, more than one event could occur during a game. And the way this works is we'll get to the position where the event's located. Both players will have their activations. I wouldn't say their alternations. No, they are going to have their activations. And then we will resolve the event. The events could be either one thing wonder, like they activate and they go, or they could advance a certain number of positions in the turn counter, meaning they will happen again. So yeah, that's I really like it because it has a narrative layer to it, but it's not necessarily, I don't want you to think about the narrative events as something lengthy and tedious to read that stops the game flow. It's more of a, maybe you have to make a choice or everyone has to take a particular role.
Because with the events being not necessarily well, they're not fixed. Nothing's fixed on the, it's a whole part and parcel of it. Everything is flexible to move. If you're designing a narrative scenario, you can sit there and go, okay, well, I want turn 3, which will be the end of your round. Something will happen then and it'll be a trigger. And I want that to happen at the end of every round. So you know it's going to go 3, 6, 9. So at the end of every third activation or third turn, this event will occur, whether that's a weather feature or a rampaging animal or holes opening in the ground because somebody's been burrowing. All of these things are possible. All of them can drop in. But at the same time, you can go, okay, well, that's event 1. And we know event 1 is going to move around this tracker as we go. However, somebody wounded, a messenger at another battle is going to come running in on turn 8, which will be the middle of round 2. And that's a one shot. And he comes in, he does something. People can get a benefit either in a campaign or immediately. And then he's gone again. So having those things coming in and tracking them all the time means you don't miss things, which is always a problem when you want to build a really interesting interactive narrative scenario. That halfway through your 5th turn, you go, we should have
done that, and then you forgot.
Let's just bring him in now, or we'll just ignore him.
Wasn't something supposed to happen like by the end of turn 3? Do you remember what was it?
Just having an aid memoir there and just going, we know exactly where we are. We know where we are in the turn. We know where we are in the round, and we know where we are in our narrative game or in the events that are going to be occurring because they're just there, and you just pop through them all.
And then what else does the tracker do? This for spells as well?
Oh, yes. So spells, some of the spells have a duration, meaning they will remain active for a particular number of turns. Such is the case of the Spirit of the Thermoplurus with the Evoker. And when you target, we have actually the tokens for the spell effects are 2. We have a bigger one over here, the one that belongs in the tracker. And then we have a wee one which belongs on the profile of the affected unit. Mind that these might be both positive and negative effects, so it's not necessarily always a buff. No, you can annoy the living hell out of your opponent for, say, 3 turns. So we put this on the tracker to signal when this spell will stop being active and how you can manage around this certain unit. In this case, it will be the Orc Hunters, and they have an intimidation thing going on about it. And so we use these double tokens to mark it. And same with spells that may just affect the terrain. In this case, the terrain, the scenario, the whole army. In this case, we won't have a letter token attached to a profile, but say, for example, it's going to be bloody snowing for 2 turns, meaning that everyone that attempts to move is going to be slowed. I'm making things up. Don't. I'm seeing people taking notes and browsing through, like, what? Which one is this scenario? I'm just making things up as I go.
Feel free to add that to any scenario you want.
Exactly. So that would mean, like, until turn number 6, exactly, the spell is going to remain active, and then it will go away. So yeah, it's a very interesting tool, especially if, like me, you are prone to use spellcasters. I'm a big spellcaster player, so.
I mean, I can take a relief spellcaster.
Go Tinge players.
And then the other thing you track on this is when units become demoralized.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct. So likewise with, which number did I put? The number 2, numero 12. There we have it. Like with the spell effect, or just generic effects that doesn't, I forgot to mention that these two don't always signal spells. They could be just effects, because not only spellcasters can create effects, and I'm saying too much about that. I'm going to be scolded when I get So same with the effects. We have these tiny token for demoralized units. When a unit doesn't succeed in a willpower roll and is maxed out by stress or an effect or a spell, or another unit just imposes the demoralized and they need to flee, they will have a chance to rally. And we signal that exactly the same. We put it on the card, and we indicate that this unit is in fact demoralized. And then we place the demoralized token on the tracker. This means that when the turn comes, and everything happens after the player's activation. So effects, events, demoralization. So whenever the 2 players had the activation, the unit can take another willpower test to see if they can rally and, shake it off, doing a Taylor Swift one. And
that's important, because the last thing I really like about the tracker is how you resolve things if multiple things happen on the same turn.
Yes.
And the way that works is that, for example, if round 5 or turn 5 is going to be in the round, but say this spell was going to resolve at that point, this courage test was going to resolve. As they happen, they become a stack, and you resolve the stack from the top down. So this would happen first, then this, then the end of the round. And that's really clean. That's what I like about it. It's really clean. You don't have to wonder, what do we do first, this and that. You go by the stack. And that, I think, is really good for gameplay, because it's so intuitive.
I wouldn't even say that's the intuitive nature of it. It just stops arguments.
Yeah, that too.
Because there's
peace, we chose peace.
Well, that's it. If this unit passes the morale for their motivation, then they're on the table to give somebody else whatever for whatever.
Yeah.
But
like a war surgeon, for example. It's like, is she able to
will
heal,
the stress and the heal kick in, or will they run off first? And so if you're playing another war game, it may say that you can do them in any order you want. And then you get people going, well, obviously I'm going to do that last, because if I do that first and I feel it, then it's going to impact everything else. It's just set in stone. You just go top to bottom.
And the thing with the effects, especially, is because it happens after the activation of the players, is not going to affect what your choice is in that turn at all. And you both know it, meaning that by the turn, by this turn, this spell will be active until the very end. And then you cannot complain about, is your spell still active because we reached turn 4? Yes, it is. After turn 4, it'll be gone. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
There you go. So that is part and parcel of Warcrow, which you'll get in the Winds of the North box set. Hopefully that's answered some questions about how the turn tracker works. It's similar, but yet very different from how it plays out in Warcrow Adventures. And because of its flexibility, hopefully we're not going to just see the standard sort of scenarios that people often have to sort of play out. You can always be moving things around, and everything changes.
Adds great narrative scope. Coming up with good scenarios for this will be part of the fun, and the turn tracker adds versatility to that. It's more options, ways to do things.
You will experience this in the campaign that comes with this box, Winds from the North. The turn tracker is very important because you might not be alone in this campaign. You and your opponent might not be the only ones there.
Who can say for certain how that one's going to go. If you want to find out, pick it up. We're going to move on and see what else we have to uncover during the Winds in the North. Bye-bye.
Comment on the Warcrow Week videos for your chance to win a Warcrow Winds from the North 2-player battle pack. We will choose 3 winners, one from YouTube, one from OnTableTop.com, and one from our Cult of Games members. So you guys get an extra chance to win.
Go ahead and check out our other content on screen now. And while you're at it, why not hit subscribe and remember to ding our dong. Go on, you know you want to click it. Go on.